Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is your girl Mitzi, and this is Mitzi. Let's think about it. Today we are thinking about teens and social media. That is a thinker, and likely I have Tara here who's going to help us think about this in a whole new way. So thank you so much for coming onto my show and sharing your time and your perspective with me. Let's just dive right in. When you hear
Let's
those
do it.
words, teens and social media, what does that make you think about?
Oh, it's a lot. I'm a teacher and I've been teaching junior high I'm going into my 17th year. So I spend all my time with the teenagers. I teach junior high, so primarily 14 and 15-year-olds. And they are obsessed with social media. And it's actually starting younger and younger and younger, which I find very alarming as a parent as well. And I don't know. I think that we need to pay attention to what kids are being exposed to and what they're spending the bulk of their time doing on their screens, and maybe start, thinking of what's better for them, which is getting them out of the rooms, off the screens, outside with their friends, face to face, all of those things. Reading books would be good.
Yeah, exactly. Like reading books, like just practicing your
A
social
hundred
skills. You
percent.
know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
remember being a teen and I was never home. You know what I mean? Never home. I was always
No.
out and about and just I found programs I would dive into. I would find camps I would go
Yeah.
to, youth events that I would go to. I would
Mm-hmm.
be walking all around town because I didn't have a car. Nobody had a
Yeah.
car. And we didn't have a bike because for some reason they'll always be stolen, lost, or broken. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So walking was the way around. So it's just like people are really losing the intersocial skills, communication skills, critical thinking skills,
Oh
just
yeah.
because they don't even know how to think for themselves. They're just like,
Mm-hmm.
wait, I got to look at this. Wait, I got to check
Yeah.
on this first. So it's really frustrating. So for you as a teacher, as a mentor, as a parent, as an adult,
Mm-hmm.
as a human being, you know what I mean? Do you think there's another way to handle social media with teens?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of pressure as a parent. I think like that really is what it comes down to, because as myself as a parent, my son's turning 10 and already a ton of his friends have cell phones. And my answer is absolutely not. Like you're never anywhere where you need a phone. You're always with me or with another adult. So I'm already starting to feel that pressure, but I think you have to find a community of people who value the same things that you do and push it off for as long as possible. I know it's inevitable. At some point, my kids are going to be on social media, but I think the older they are, the more beneficial it will be for them, because they can think critically about it. They can understand, what they're seeing is not real, or disconnect a little bit too when they get home from school. As a teacher, and what I write about a lot is how kids, they can never ever disconnect anymore. So when you had a bad day at school, when I was a kid, when you were a kid, probably you got to go home and be free of it. But kids don't have that opportunity anymore because it follows them in their back pocket on their phones.
Yeah, it really does. And it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
traumatizing because
Mm-hmm.
it's a never-ending loop. Like, I am so grateful that I grew up in the era where phones were just starting out. You know what I mean? That they weren't cool enough to even take pictures
Mm-hmm.
because the quality on the phone
Yeah.
wasn't even good. You know what I mean? So we weren't taking pictures, we weren't recording like
No.
that. You know what I mean? And it's just it's really, really difficult, but I think it comes down to parents need to gain that responsibility. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Not give in to that pressure because the pressure is
Yes.
real. It's so real.
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember harassing my mom for a cell phone, thinking that
For sure.
a
Yeah.
cell phone would solve all my problems, thinking,
Mm-hmm.
oh yeah, I would be in the loop. I would know everything. I could hit up whoever I wanted. Yeah, it wasn't that magic cure. It's not that magic cure. And I think that's one thing that teens need to realize. Like a cell phone is not gonna resolve your problems. It's not gonna
No.
make you cool. It's not gonna make you likable. It's not gonna make you anything that you're convincing yourself that it's gonna resolve. Like it's a little wand and all of a sudden beepity boppity boop, everything's
Mm-hmm.
gone. Like no, if
It's
anything,
actually
it's
going to
gonna
amplify that.
yeah, it's gonna make it
Mm-hmm.
worse and it's gonna
Yes.
intensify it. And it's interesting because just recently, a couple months ago, on the news where I'm at, a student actually saved the whole entire bus and everybody in it because the driver accidentally like passed out just while driving, passed out. But only one person out of the whole entire bus did not have a cell phone, and
Wow.
he was paying attention, and he saved them and was able to stop the bus and put it to a halt so that they can figure out what is going on. And then as soon as he was able to take control of the wheel and put it on brake and stop it, he screamed out, call somebody. I mean, after all these other people have some phones, do
That's
something with it. You
crazy.
know what I mean? But it just makes it real. It makes it realize like we don't need to have put our children in front of a tablet, in front of an iPad, in front of a phone, just so that they can be entertained. There's other ways to
Mhm.
entertain children. You know what I mean? Like my children, they do not get cell phones. They do not.
Yeah.
I mean, they're only 2 and 3. Why do they need a cell phone?
No,
Why do they
but
need an
I've
iPad?
seen 2 and 3-year-olds just like
Scrolling.
scrolling in the grocery store or wherever,
Yeah.
restaurants.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
my kids are not the ones. Like my kids are adventurous. They want to explore. They want to know
Hmm.
the world. And it's like that's what I love because it's like I want you to have that mystery. I want you to have that
Yeah.
curiosity. I want you to have that. And like even if I try to like silence them because people are giving me weird looks at the restaurant, like why is your kid looking all over the place? Why are they touching everything?
Hmm.
Why can't you just shut them up with a phone? I My kids will not even take a phone and watch something because they want to know what's going on in the world. And it's like I'm not going
Yeah.
to force them to focus on a screen because you can't handle a child's curiosity, a childlike understanding. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I with you. I
Well, how
think that
else
is so
they
important.
learn to handle those situations as well? There's only
Exactly.
one way for them to do it. And what I'm seeing as a teacher is like kids cannot handle that sitting, waiting, being bored, which is at a restaurant. It's boring. Or,
Mm.
you're just sitting there, you're chatting, which kids don't want to do. But how else do you learn how to do that? Unless, like, if you can't shove a tablet in their face without them being able to handle it, then they're never going to learn to like sit with that and be patient and be bored for a little while. So when you
Oh,
have kids who are unable
yeah.
to board a whole classroom of them, it makes my job very challenging.
Right. I was gonna say, like, I couldn't imagine how much more difficult it is to just try to keep kids engaged because
Hmm.
unless it looks like a social media app, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they're just like, I'm not into it. I'm not
Yeah.
trying to be focused into it.
Hmm.
And it's frustrating because that's one thing that whenever I have my nieces and nephews, I'm like, learn boredom so that you can learn entertainment. Because if you are
Yes.
always constantly entertained, then you are never going to actually appreciate when true entertainment is in front of you because then you're going to be bored of it because you're constantly giving it all the time. No, be
Hmm.
bored. Sit with your thoughts, sit with your emotions, think about life. Look at the
Hmm.
wall. You know what I mean? I remember my
Yep.
mom said that to me when I was young. What? I woke up early and she didn't want me to turn on the TV. So what she did? Look at the wall.
Yeah.
Imagine a world. Do something with yourself. You know what I mean? So I don't think people are really taking advantage of that. So it's like, how do you bring imagination and creativity back into teens?
Get them off their screens. I think they have to, the imagination and creativity that is from being bored. Like nobody has ever been creative when they've been constantly entertained, go, 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 watching 2-second TikTok, videos constantly. That is how we get kids imaginative, is letting them sit and be bored for a while. And then they
Mm-hmm.
figure out, okay, I got to do something. What am I going to do? I watch it with my own kids. Like they are the same thing. Like I want to watch TV or play on the Switch or whatever. I'm like, nope, figured out. Well, I'm bored. What do I do? And then all of a sudden, after 15 minutes of whining, they've created a game and they're coloring and they're doing their own thing. They figure it out. But kids, like I know teens especially, the reading rates have plummeted because why would
Yeah.
you read a book which takes sustained attention when you could watch a TikTok video that's there, boom, 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 boom? There's no work to it.
Mm.
So their ability, like their stamina, their ability to stay on task is obliterated. And you can tell,
Yeah.
I can stand in front of a class and within a week, I can tell what kids have screen regulations and which kids don't. It is very apparent as a teacher right away.
Oh, so do you think screen regulation, goodness, I couldn't say that word. Is that the best way for parents to try to adjust when it comes to trying to take their kids back from the messiness of electronics?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's hard for kids like for parents to do that for kids who have never had those boundaries. Like
Hmm.
most kids have unlimited screen time. It's unlimited. They have it in the room all night long, which again, as a teenager, if I had a phone in my room all night long when I was a teen, I would talk till 3 o'clock in the morning. That's just what kids do. So now they have access to the entire world in their bedrooms all through the night. They're not sleeping. And then they get to school and they're on it at break time. They're not socializing. Like you said with the bus, like I'm picturing a school hallway and they're just like zoned out on their phones. But yeah, I think they need limits. All kids need limits. That's actually our
Yeah.
job as parents, even if they don't like it. Too bad. Sure, you want to have the social media, you want to have access to a phone, but these are the hours you get to use it. It is plugged in at this common space at nighttime, starting at 9 o'clock, whatever.
Hmm.
Setting those boundaries, I think it's painful at first, but kids will eventually appreciate that ability to disconnect because they won't feel that pressure as well to constantly be on there talking, chatting, snapping, whatever it is.
Oh, absolutely. I agree because I think one time I've seen somewhere that a mother was like, I'd rather have my kids on a screen versus making a mess. But then I'm like, I would rather have my kids make a mess, flip the couch
Mm-hmm.
upside down, start make a 10, build things out of nothing. You know what I mean? Tear the house apart because a
Yeah.
mess is for a moment, but a lesson is for a
Yes.
lifetime. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So if you can teach that kid a lesson and for them to think and for them to learn and for them to understand, it's a whole different avenue. And I love the fact that you're talking about place the phone somewhere else in
Mm-hmm.
an area that you don't even need right away. You know what I mean? This type of thing is so surreal. And oh my goodness, do you think this fear of missing out, FOMO as they call it, is that really crippling the youth?
Oh, yes, massively. They like even, well, we got rid of cell phones in our schools last year, and you could see kids like struggling. They're struggling. They just
Oh,
need to check. What did I miss? What's going on? They'll get hundreds of notifications a day. And we feel it as adults too. Like when you see that notification, you got to check, right? Like what's going on? Who commented? Who liked? Whatever. So it's like amplified as kids. We're
yeah.
adults and we feel it. So just throwing that onto kids, that's it's way more.
Yeah, yeah, it really is because it's like if I'm not part of it or if I don't know when
Mm,
it's happening, then I'm a loser or I'm not cool
yeah,
or I don't
left
know.
out.
And yeah, it's like,
Mm,
but I think one thing I've learned and I've appreciated growing up that if it's not an emergency, you don't really need me. You know what I
no.
mean? Like you don't need me. Like I'm a type of person that comes 7 o'clock, my phone is in the dining room in the corner and
Mhm.
plugged in and away. Like after 7 o'clock, do not call me. Do not even pop up. Like if it's an
Yeah,
emergency, call 911, call somebody else
yeah.
because I cannot
I'll
be
get
your
back to you.
emergency contact. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I'll find out in the morning because right now is not that urgent. And my and with my group chat with my sisters and my mom would be like, "Where's Mitzi? Why hasn't she responded?" And my sisters would be like, "Cause it's already 7:05. She's
Bedtime.
already done for the day. Like she
Yeah.
ain't gonna respond. And if I do respond, they're like, "Oh, Mitzi, you're out late. What's happening?" And you
Mhm.
know what I mean? Because it's real. We have to let people know of these boundaries. And I think as parents, if we start displaying it, then it allows our children to realize, well, my mom doesn't do it. So then I don't have
Mhm.
to do it either. Like my mom's not obsessed with her phone, then I don't have to do it either. But it's like we're realizing that the reason why children are so obsessed with their phones is because the parents are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've seen articles or I've seen video pictures and videos of where children are like, I wish I was a phone so that my mom can look at me as much as
Mhm.
she looks at her phone. You know, it's hardening. So it's just like for you as a parent, as a teacher, as a mentor, as somebody that's around all of these children, what is one thing that you encourage the youth to think about?
I agree with the modeling piece because even as a teacher, I try and model it, and as a parent, I model it. Because yeah, parents are just as bad as not setting the
Mhm.
boundaries, right? But
Yeah.
um, I think, sorry, I lost complete track of your question because I went on to that tangent.
No, it's okay. It's still valid. It was all about like how can we make children think differently and just think more purposely.
I guess it's really hard to make kids think the way you want to think. So I think modeling yourself is really important and getting kids out to actually experience things. So what I always say to my students is why are you spending all of your time watching other people live life? when you could be out living life yourself. That's all
Yeah.
that they're doing is watching these influencers or watching these celebrities, these YouTubers, whatever, who are living their lives. You're a sucker. You're a sucker. You're completely being sucked into them and you're missing out on your own life. And, some kids get it and some kids don't, not yet. But I hope one day that they will and they'll actually go and have their own experiences. But I know, like now, weekends, when I talk to kids about what they did on the weekend, some of them sit on devices all weekend. They don't go outside. So, as a parent, I think, when your kids become teenagers, that's not the time to back off and just let them do
Yeah.
whatever they want. That's actually the time you got to step up a little bit. Like, no, we're going camping. We're going to the pool. We're going to have a bonfire, whatever it is. Engage the teenagers still. Even if they don't want to, I think they will appreciate it. They got to get out. They got to do stuff because they're not anymore. They're staying at
Yeah.
home, staring at their screens, watching other people live their lives.
Yeah, and I think that's the problem is like when you see other people live their lives and you get so depressed, like, why isn't my
Mm,
life like this? But it's like your life can be. Your life can
exactly.
be adventurous. You can go on adventures in your town, in your backyard, in your space that you are in. You can invite your friends to come over, you know what I mean? You can all meet up somewhere, meet at the library, meet at the park, meet anywhere. You know what I mean? That's a real thing. It's a real thing because
Mm-hmm.
I remember it was. I remember telling my
Yes.
friends that we're gonna meet at the library. I'll see you in 15 minutes. Click bye because we used to have
Mm-hmm.
home phones. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So you only contacted somebody in their homes, and you would hope that they were there. And if they weren't there, then you knew okay, then they're already walking. They're already on their
Yeah.
way. So I gotta hurry up and go. And it's like that was a different type of experience because
Mm-hmm.
we got to literally know what somebody was doing and we got to experience life together. And I think that's one thing that is sad is that kids aren't experiencing life together anymore. They're just living life along each other and not really doing
Yes.
anything with it. Like there's
Mm-hmm.
videos of kids opening gifts. Okay. All you're seeing is them opening
Yeah.
gifts. You're seeing other kids play with toys. You can't play with toys. You
Yeah.
can't literally play with toys either. Like why not? Like my nephew, he's in his teens and he came over to my house one day and he seen my little setup for my boys because I have a little playroom for them and it has a whole bunch of Hot Wheels and monster trucks and things like that that my son's like. And he was like, "Man, Titi, you have the best setup ever." And he was literally playing. He
Yeah.
wasn't
I
on
love
his
that.
phone and he
Love
was
it.
playing with the toys and like
Mm-hmm.
crashing them in. And I was just like, how beautiful it is to see this teenager find his childlike spirit and
Mm-hmm.
and still find the joy in toys of cars and Hot Wheels. You know what I mean? Like we need to allow that to be acceptable and we need to not judge kids when they are acting like a child. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
they're
Well,
supposed to be a child.
yeah, teens are still kids. They're just big. That's all. They're still
Big,
kids.
yeah,
Like some of my
exactly.
students tower over me, but they're still just kids. And I love that. Yeah, that experiencing that. And I think as soon as kids get a phone, they lose that play.
They
It's gone.
do. Yeah, they
They
really
are,
do.
and I think as soon as you give them that phone, your fight over screen time will never end until they're grown up. That is the second a parent decides to do that, you are taking away their play based childhood. You're giving them a screen based childhood and you are starting that battle and it's not going to stop.
Yeah, it's not because now they're gonna be like, why are you taking this away from me when you're
Mm-hmm.
giving it to me? Why is it now bad? Because we don't realize that anything can be addictive because it's this stress relief loop that
Mm-hmm.
we're going into because we feel like, oh, whatever stress is happening, let me loop into this
Yes.
device, let me loop into this new addiction, let me loop. And people don't realize, like, oh, well, at least my son is not in drugs. Well,
Yeah.
technically, this screen is causing
Yeah.
real long-term effects. They've been studies that showed like the eyeballs, the
Mm-hmm.
is changing now. The forming is changing. That now people who are so addicted to their phones and have over 10 hours of screen time in a day, now they're having trouble with just seeing far out. They can't
Yeah.
see far things anymore. They can't check their peripherals anymore. They don't have
Mhm.
that diligency because now their mind is like, oh, okay, we need to focus on what's in front of us. So it's all about what's close to them, and it's changing our anatomy. You know what I mean? Even
Mhm.
gamers, and people who do gaming all the times wearing that headset that
Yeah.
goes over their head, it literally creates a dent in their head where it's
Mhm.
deforming their head. It's no longer round, it's no longer shaped like a head anymore because it's shaping differently because your body's like, oh well, we need to adjust to accommodate this. And people don't realize the science behind it. And as if parents can just be more conscientious and not so overwhelmed as well, and just think this is an easy way to escape out of their responsibility as a parent or as a guardian, as an adult, to care for this child, I think then things would truly start changing for the youth in the next generation. Because
Mhm.
this generation, these teens, these children eventually are going to come and replace us. Like soon we
Yeah.
will die. You know what I mean? Our generation and all the generations after, before us, they will eventually die out. And what are they going to do? How are they going to
Mhm.
manage life? How are they going to think? How are they going to read? Oh my goodness. You know
I'm
what I
scared
mean?
for that. Yeah.
I know, like these are the things, like how are they going to put emojis up on
Yeah.
street signs instead of real
Oh my
language?
gosh. That's
Yeah,
terrifying.
emoji. These are real things that we got to think about. But and time is truly catching up to us, and I'm sad because I'm really enjoying this conversation. But what can be some lasting words that you can leave us off with to keep on thinking?
Um, well, like you said, parents say it's at least they're not on drugs. But the people who created social media apps are the same people who create VLTs. They use the same science behind it. Those tech companies are not there to look out for our kids. They are there to hook them early so they have customers for life. So, like you said, it's really not that different. Kids are beyond addicted. They are so addicted to these devices because they were made to be addictive. And I've had parents come up to me and say, oh, sure, good luck when your kids become teenagers. And my answer to that is, this is my job. Like to delay. Yeah, are teenagers going to drink alcohol at some point? Probably. Am I going to give it to them? No. There's a difference between enabling a behavior and, not being naive to a behavior. So you better believe I will hold off as long as possible for the betterment of my kids. And I think actually that there is a swing happening that people are starting to recognize. The last 10 years, these kids were guinea pigs. They were guinea
Mm,
pigs. We didn't know. Even as a teacher, we encouraged the tech use and the social media use because we were told this is revolutionary. We did not know. And now we're starting to figure it out. So I think I'm not here to judge any parents. I just hope parents take, more thoughts and more steps. And maybe it's going to be uncomfortable and your kid's going to hate you for a little while. But at some point, I really think that they'll thank you.
yeah, exactly. It's like it's all in the long term. Like we have to
Mm-hmm.
realize, like in the long term, this discomfort is only temporary, but in the long run,
Yes.
they'll thank you for saying no. I mean,
We've
I
all
can
been there.
think, you know what I mean? Exactly. We've all looked
Yeah.
back at our past and realized, you know what? I'm kind of grateful that I didn't get a cell phone. I'm kind of grateful
Mm-hmm.
that my mom said no to that party that ended up getting raided and
Yes.
ended up having a whole bunch of problems. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's a real thing. And I want to also touch on real quick with what you talked about, how like the teens and wanting to drink, you know what I mean? You're
Mm-hmm.
not going to approve it. You know what I mean? You're not going to be like, okay, go ahead and start drinking and start smoking and start having sex and start
Yeah.
all of these things so early that it kind of changes your chemical and makes it imbalance. You know what I mean? So,
Mm-hmm.
and I also loved how you talked about how this was truly like a guinea pig. You know what I mean? We were
Yeah.
truly figuring it out because during 2020 everything shut down and everything came more
Yep.
intense, you know what I mean? And people were promoting more social media so that we
Yep.
can be social on it together and
Mm-hmm.
still interact with each other. So now it's about like, how can we be more real in time, and now we're
Yeah.
trying to change things. So I agree. I think the change is really there because it needs to be there. You know what I mean? We need to
Yeah.
recognize the mistakes that were done in the past, own up to it, and be like, okay, my bad, but now let's do something different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, We really truly need to think about things in a whole new way. And ladies and
Hey,
gentlemen,
flip phones are making a comeback. Just throw it out there. That's what my kids are getting. Dumb phones. They're called dumb phones. Not a smartphone, a dumb phone.
I like the flip phones. Like I used to
Yeah.
snap that whenever I was upset. Okay,
Yeah.
bye. Click.
Bam.
Yeah, exactly. That was the thing. Like we knew like if you were in the store and you heard somebody click that phone, like, oh, they just got
So
mad.
satisfying.
I
Yeah.
know.
Not the same when you like hit the button. It just doesn't have the same effect.
Exactly. Or when phones were just getting touched and then you would accidentally call people and butt dial
Like,
people.
no,
Oh my goodness, I used to hate that. Like, oh, I don't know
terrible.
if it's hung up or not. Yeah. Times have changed, but it just
They
shows
have.
that things can be better. We can learn from our mistakes and we can do better because that's the whole thing, right? Know better, do better. And if you guys
Yeah.
enjoy this conversation as much as I did, go check out Tara. I have access to her website, access to her content so that you can continue on thinking. Because isn't that the point? Yes, it is. It's to keep on thinking. So, with that being said, bye.